So I guess I'm doing this. I'm decided to record myself because I started playing the life and suffering of Sir Brante recently, and I thought it would be a very useful and very interesting if I recorded myself playing it, just for maybe my personal use to look back on, or maybe because I don't know. Just enjoy. I want to share my story, I guess, and why I'm making the decisions I'm making. So maybe I can reflect on this one day, or something like that. So I'm not too far into the game as if the if the game will let me. I'll have to click on this at a different point. But I'm not too far in the game. I'm like 2 years into the prologue, the first chapter rather, when you're just born. I'm like 2 years old, and the decisions I made up to this point were I smiled at the shadow in the background, which gave me willpower, and then when we were playing hide and seek, I went back to the house, and so that gave me one determination, and then when your sister Gloria was telling me the prayers, I decided to make up my own words. And I think like I made all those decisions because given who I am now, it seems like what I would have honestly did, and it's just very interesting. I'm realizing I might be a very determined person and not a very perceptive person, as the traits are called. So yeah, the game works. It's just a story of you living as this man, it's Sir Brante, or in my case Parsons Brante, because I named him after my last name. And yeah, we're just gonna. You have different traits. Basically, the story is still unfolding, so there's not too much I've learned of the story. So much I did read up on. They have like a family tree over here, so I just kind of learned some of the relationships. Like the thing is, so you had a noble grandfather, and then he had a son who's your father, and then he was married into the. Your father was married into the nobility through an arranged marriage, and that arranged marriage produced a son who is then therefore noble by birth. His name's Stephan. He's a smug little jerk who says he doesn't want to play with commoners. And then now your father is married to a peasant woman who much more commonplace in life, and you are the legitimate son of your father and your mother, and also there's an illegitimate daughter, Gloria, who I mentioned earlier, that was talking about the poems. Yes. So there's a lot of dynamics going on here that I can obviously see are going to play out. You know, Gloria being the more determined one who wants to not even make herself, because she was singing the prayers, and she was, because the big thing in this world is there seems to be a structure put in place to remove classical hierarchies. When I say classical, I mean class hierarchies, based on the fact that there's these twin gods that declare that there are three lots in life. You're either a noble, a priest, or a commoner, and you're destined to stay here. And which reminds me a lot of the things we see today. So it's informing decisions to make now. But let's stop talking about what's going on. You can also play the game for yourself. If you, I say that, probably the only one ever gonna look back on this, so that's find that funny. But let's just get it right back into it. So, when Father comes back from his trips, he reads his adult books aloud for you. You find these stories of wars, generals, and rebellions quite enchanting, and Father approves of your fascination. Study hard, and maybe one day you'll be a noble in the mantle and earn your sword. But first, you need to grow up. Growing up. The concept is as terrifying as it is alluring. Oh, the lot of suffering. You keep staring at the carpet under your feet. You're both ashamed and proud, and it feels odd. A scratch on your head stings a little. Stefan is standing next to you, sniffling from pain. Your brother was training in the yard with a wooden sword. You wanted to play with him, but he ended up getting angry and throwing the sword at you. The stick hit you in the shoulder. You picked it up and it hit him with it. Very brotherly dynamics as even as an only child, I can totally see something like this playing out. So we're obviously getting scolded after in the outcome of this. Let's see. You see mother's shoes walking to and fro on the carpet. You do not want to look up. You would rather not see her angry. She is not as gentle to you these days. Wonder if she had some event go on in her life, or is it just the natural trend as children get earlier, older, mother less gentle because they want to instill discipline, you know, and order into their child? It's an interesting question. Why did you hurt Stephan, Parsons? Oh, so it's my fault. You stammer out an explanation. He hit you back. He hit you first, I mean. You just hit him back. How dare he pester me like that? When I grow up, I'm gonna hit you with a real sword. I freaking smug ass. Mother shushes you back. Shushes you both. And speaks to you again. Her voice is stern, and yet you cannot feel her, yet you can still feel her concern for you. Even if Stefan hits you, you cannot hit him back. You were my son, and I was born a commoner. Our lot is to suffer, but your brother was born from a noble father and a noble mother. His sacrament is coming soon, and then he'll rule over the likes of us. Oh, fuck. Dude, I hate these classic hierarchies, social stability bullshit, keep my lot in life. If you hurt a noble, you must be punished. That is your lot, and the sooner you learn it, the better off our entire family will be. Probably, but screw you, Mom. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna apologize to him. Next, Stefan looks at you in triumph. You look up to Mother in fear, not sure what to do now. Accept your punishment? Relations Lydia Brante Cravel, Stephan Brante personality minus willpower. Willpower is greater than or equals to 0. Deny your guilt or demand an explanation. You demand. I don't think. I don't think this. Okay, neither of these are gonna work out for me. Obviously, the better thing to do if I just want people to like me, which does have its freaking benefits, but I don't really care if Stefan and Lydia likes me because Stefan's a smug asshole, and I don't really want to live my mom's philosophy of leaving my lot in life. So I'm not gonna deny. I don't think I'm gonna deny my guilt because you know that's not gonna get me anywhere. But I will demand an explanation. I'm definitely not accepting my punishment. I'm gonna demand an explanation. You start asking questions. Why were you born a commoner if your father's a noble? If you have your father's name, why can't you have his lot? And why can't you choose a lot for yourself if you don't like the one you have? Mother is stunned by all the questions you're peppering her with. Very the lot of suffering. I just like how anguished I look. Sorry, I'm not supposed to feel funny, but just the and then this very anguished look is just comedic to me. Don't you dare ask me about that, Parsons. I'll violate my lot if I start explaining to you. I'm a commoner, not a priest. Yeah, so obviously it seems like, determination sets you up to be a nobleman, perception sets you up to be a priest. I'm going to go for a balance of both, I think, because I think that's always useful, because does it let me, yes, it does let me, you have willpower, determination, perception. I'm going to try to make a balance of some of them all. I'm going to miss out on opportunities probably by doing that because I imagine certain opportunities you're going to have max perception or max determination in order to make them. But that's there's probably like determination only endings where you're like this grandiose hero, but you're kind of stupid, in these perception endings where you're a manipulative like cultist priest. But I don't really want either of those things. I do want to be a leader, but I want to be a smart, intelligent leader. So I'm gonna try to go for a balance. And obviously, the game is probably meant so that you're not, you can't just equally go for all of them. But you know, I'm still going to try to do my best. Do my best. You're flogged in front of your entire family. The pain burns on your skin again and again. I'm a freaking 3-year old, by the way. I'm asking, why is my lot in life? Jesus. The pain burns on your skin again and again. Tears keep rolling down your cheeks. It feels like the punishment will never end. It hurts to walk when you're finally let go. You slowly climb the stairs and walk to your room. You see a book on your bed. The teachings of Isis. Oh my god, I should have just went for it. The teachings of Ischus. Volume 2. Imagine Gloria gave this to me if I had to. Yes. The teaching of Ischus. You know, you just have to be confident. Just go for it. Nobody probably knows how to pronounce this. Just go for it. Your tears have dried now. You begin to read, slowly making your way through the difficult words. Every death of the body bringeth the soul ever close to the twin's judgment. And when the body dieth a true death, the soul soareth to the shining pillar. The twin gods do judge every soul, and their judgment is stern and unforgiving. He who followeth his lot in life from birth shall melt in bliss atop of the peak of shining pillar. You know what? I don't really care about what happens to me after I dead. Why am I gonna live for a promise that I'm not gonna know until I'm dead? I'm gonna work to make the most of what I can in life, where I can actually feel and sensation and know what's going on around me. I'm not gonna live this idea for a promise after death. That's why I don't believe personally in like heaven and everything. I really think there are ways to try and keep social stability by keeping people from seeking out too much, from being too ambitious, so that the ruling class, the elites, can have an easier way in life. So, moving on though. The words confuse and elude you, instilling fear and awe. You will read this mysterious book again and again as you go up. I want to be curious though. Gloria's rhymes. Mother mostly stays in her chamber now. With each passing day, she grows heavier, and her features grow rounder. It gets difficult for her to walk, but she still smiles all the time. One day, she takes your hand and puts them on her big belly, and you feel a movement deep inside her. You will have another brother or sister soon. Gloria takes you on walks to the yard now. You explore the yard together under the evening light of the pillar, and she sings you songs and tells you amazing stories. Hey Parsons, you want to hear a rhyme? I wrote it myself. There's even a bit about you, but don't tell anyone, okay? Writing poems and songs is only for nobles. If Mommy hears about it, I'll get flogged. Remember how you got flogged for hitting Stephan? Our judge is our judge is my second father. In the past I had another. Mother says the twins are great. Says we should not fight our fate. Brother loves to jump around. Please don't fall on the ground. See, I wrote a little rhyme. Please don't tell anyone it's mine. I like that they even rhymed at the end there. That's Gloria. Like, I just see Gloria end up turning to just being like an unhappy, uncontent housewife who just takes her lot in life and deals with it. And like, I think she has so much greatness inside of her, and that saddens me that she's gonna just accept that and accept she could be no one greater. That's, I think that happens to a lot of people. That saddens me. You know, and I think there's also another aspect working against Glory. Also, she's a woman, and I imagine, you know, the society is definitely going to have, different places for women. Just like our own society has instilled for thousands of years. And I don't think that's right. I think, a person should have the ability to find themselves who they are. So. But today your sister is nowhere to be seen. She promised to take you to the old pond and show you the red frogs that lived there. But then she vanished. The servants join you in your search. Even Mother leaves her chambers when she hears the commotion. Finally, you find Gloria in the far corner of the garden. She is holding a quill and sheets of paper covered in poetry. Mother becomes angry the moment she sees it. She looks through the poetry and her face goes dark with rage. Gloria is standing before her, wringing her hands and looking for an opportunity to run. But there seems to be no escape. Yeah, you can see she's pregnant. She got caught. You know, this kind of inevitable. But I will stand up for Gloria. What is this nonsense, Gloria? We talked about this. You're told to take care of your little brother. You're not absolutely not allowed to entertain yourself with this writing. I can decide that for myself, Mom. No, you cannot. It's already been decided by the gods. And yet he's not a little brother anymore. He doesn't need a nanny. I need some time alone to think for myself. I'm not hurting anyone. You are a commoner and a future wife. Oh, what did I say? What did I say? It's time you learn how to properly care for children. Had your disgraceful former father kept me in his house, you could have been born a noble. But that is not our fate, and you are absolutely forbidden forever spoiling paper and wasting ink again. I think the main thing here is Lydia is very uncontent with her lot in life, and but at the same time she's grown to accept it, and so she doesn't want to see other people have the mobility, have the freedom that she doesn't have, at having grown older and more stuck. You know, you're never fully stuck, but you're definitely more stuck as you get older. Reminds me of a story from my History 114 class. Like, I forget the exact person's name, but it was a story of a non-binary. I don't know the exact terms. I'm not an expert, but basically they were very fluid and moved between male and female, you know, depending on what they thought at the moment. And the women and the men both said that cannot be. And I think that's because they didn't like, as my professor pointed out, and I surmised as well, you know, that I should say they, because they switch between he and she, so I'll go by they, that they had a freedom that they did not. And they did not, everyone must fall in line. Mother grabs Gloria firmly by the hand and takes you both into the house. The scribbled sheets fall in the. I probably need two perception for this, don't I? Yeah. Fuck. The scribbled sheets fly into the fireplace. Gloria sobs violently. You're a bystander to the scene, unsure of how to act. Leave the room. Willpower. I wish I had this. I'm not gonna complain about my sister. That stuff. I'm gonna comfort her. I could I no I would comfort her in this moment. If I had a chance to stand up for her, I would have, but I didn't. I couldn't leave her be. That would be so cruel. Mother leaves. The last of your sister's poetry burns away in the fireplace. You walk up to your crying sister and take her by the hand. None of this is her fault, you say. What mother did is wrong and far too harsh. Gloria sniffles before speaking. But I didn't leave you all alone. You're not mad. You're not mad at me? Really? You nod in reassurance. Gloria embraces you. Parsons, you're the best little brother in the world. The two of you make a little deal. She promises to tell you when she wants to be alone, and you promise to protect her and her secrets always. So, hmm no, Gloria, I Gloria is a person I would want to be with in life and side with. I want her to realize her potential and what she wants. My willpower went down. That sucks, but you know, tis be. 1122, 4 years old. We're freaking 3 years old. I do not remember being that articulate and decision making when I was 3 years old. Year 1122. Winter. The coming sacrament. Mother is in her armchair, knotting woolen jackets, pants, and socks for the little one. The baby will need to be kept warm, she says. Father spends less time at home now. Mother says he's very busy with his important job. He is a judge, after all. Hmm. Yeah, yeah, they did say that he's a lowly bureaucrat, it seems like. One day, you decide to ask the mother about Stefan and Gloria. How come they're brother and sister to you, but not siblings to each other? Well, my dear, I didn't give birth to Stefan, you see. He's the son of another mother, and Gloria is the daughter of another father. Come on, don't knit your brow like that. You'll understand when you're older, or that classic phrase. Classic. How is that even possible? You're not, you're all family. Are you not? And that comes down to your definition of family. You know, is family blood, or do you choose your family? You know, Guardians of the Galaxy covered this theme quite extensively. It's an interesting question for sure. I do think you definitely can choose your family because the ones that you're born by blood, I think you have the right to choose if you think they're not right for you. You don't need to stay with your lot in life. Several days later, Mother calls Stefan and Gloria to the waiting sitting room. You sneak in after them. At first, Mother gets angry and asks you to leave, but then she relents. You are told to sit still, be quiet, and remember every word you hear. When you enter the temple, bow to the twins, first to the elder on the right, and then to the younger on the left. Stefan, you're a nobleman to be, so walk along the side paved with marble where the benches are. Gloria, you walk along the sharp side. When you're there, you must get down on your knees, each on your own side. Stefan, kiss the sword. Gloria, my daughter, they will strike you with the lash. Don't be afraid of it. Resign yourself to the suffering it brings. It is the blessing of your lot. Jesus Christ. Gloria doesn't like the idea of the lash. No, no. There's a tense feeling in your chest as well. You were told to remember this. Will the lash strike you too one day? And the next day, they take your brother and sister to the temple. You run towards them. When they finally come back, the back of Gloria's dress is soaked with blood. She's hunched a bit, sobbing quietly. Oh my God. Stefan is putting on airs, acting prouder than ever. Nothing else looks different about them. It's all, it's like all the same, and yet everything has changed. Like, oh my God, dude, these are freaking children. Holy fuck shit. Like, oh my God, I can't. Like, you have to imagine, like, obviously lashings and some that even does happen to children. They receive lashings, hit with the belt and whatnot. Children are really built from the ground up by the people around them and how they're treated. Sad to think that they don't. You know, it just makes it more difficult to carve your own lot in life. Each of them has accepted their no, Gloria, no, no. Indifference, unity, disagreement. Brother and sister sacrament, year 1122. Your siblings Stefan and Gloria took their first sacrament at the temple. The newborns cry. You eye the little bundle in your father's arms with curiosity. Behind the many layers of swaddling clothes is your newborn baby brother. Mother is glowing and smiling with joy. Stefan and Gloria are also here, all excited. You got the whole family around Stefan, me, Gloria, mother, father. You promise yourself you're going to be the best big brother in the world. You'll never hit him, oh no. The two of you will play together and tease Stefan together and help mother together and go on so many adventures together. It feels so strange to be an older brother, though. Just the other day you were the youngest in the family. But everything is different now. Your parents name your little brother Nathan, and mother spends day and night by his side. And Nathan cries all the time, day and night. Mother barely gets any sleep. She's so worn out, she starts forgetting things. Like today, for instance, she forgot her knitting in the armchair in the sitting room. You better bring it to her, back to her as soon as possible. You run to mother's bedroom. You miss her so miles so much. You walk in without saying hello and give her the knitting. But instead of gratitude, you get an ice cold, exhausted stare. Nathan is also there, screaming all the time. Go away, Parsons! You're bothering me! I don't feel I got enough emotion on that, but I also don't want to yell because it is fairly early in the morning. She spits these words out through her teeth. You look at the bawling newborn. She can't even get a minute of respite. Enough already. When are you going to stop? I just want some peace and quiet. Like, yes, she's stressed, but she isn't taking the moment to realize what her child, and she's lashing out. That is inappropriate of her. I get that she's stressed. Oh, I can't freaking hug mother? I need unity. I need her to be grateful. Oh. Mother leaps across the room and starts shaking Nathan with starts shake. Her cries get even louder. She looks so tired. She seems to be all within an inch of smashing the wall. Somebody has to do something. You're scared of your mother right now, but you fear from Nathan's life much more. Do I snatch her? Or do I call father for help? I'm a 4-year-old. I'm gonna call father for help. Like, I think that's the most logical situation considering I'm a 4-year-old. And plus it gives me perception, which I want more perception, so I'm gonna call father for help. You run away to father's study and stammer out a plea for help. Father gets up immediately and runs back with you. He barges into mother's chambers and embraces her and baby Nathan with all his might and love. She screams at him at first, crying how she is tired of everyone. He whispers something in response and takes Nathan from her and says she should lie down and rest. Then suddenly, Nathan stops crying. Mother looks around and sees you standing next to father. My son, please forgive me. I'm so sorry you had to see this. Thank you for going to your father for help. The twins know. I didn't want to hurt anyone. Now she feels the deep repentant remorse. But she's gonna, blame herself for all of this. But, she doesn't necessarily seem to have a support system to be able to help her. Someone that she can go to and talk to and vent to, get her all of her emotions out. So, it makes sense she's feeling all of this. But still, she did lash out rather than taking the steps herself to trying to forge a support network so she could have a balance of both. So I feel like I both feel sympathy for her but also acknowledging that, hey, What she did was not okay. Your mother's face is covered in tears. Everything will be all right now. Father tells you. You can go. You live in quiet joy as mother calms down and Nathan falls asleep. Father won't let anything bad happen. Now we're at two perception, so now we're curious. Represents how attentive you are to other people in the world around you, your ability to comprehend and learn. It affects your frame of mind and the skills you have when you grow up. So 2 to 3 were curious, 4 to 6 were inquisitive, and 7 to 10 were insightful. Nathan's birth. Year 1122. Your younger brother Nathan is born. Oh, and if anybody's wondering why I decided to read everything off, one, I just enjoy it, to be honest, and if by some odd chance somebody watched this that, was blind, then I would, like them to be able to be included as well. Obviously, I can't really do anything. I could technically do something. I could transcribe all the words into Braille, but that would likely get me nowhere and be ultimately a waste of my time. But I'm trying to be as reasonably as inclusive as I can. Your younger brother Nathan is born. We got loading here. Now we're 5/11/23. Yep. It looks like this goes till 9. Yeah, 9/10. Make sure sense of adolescence was like 10 to 18. Toy soldiers. You wake up to father's touch on your shoulder. He's finally back home after a long trip. Parsons, today is your special day. The day when you will begin your studies. Now teachers will be coming to your home to teach you. You must do everything, they say. Be diligent in your studies, and you will go closer to be the nobleman's lad. I see. So I can there's the nobleman's path of training, the sword play, the studying, which probably makes you a priest. I can probably run away from my studies, ignore me, which gives me willpower, or something else. I'm guessing there might be a fourth option, but those could just be the three. It says you must remember this day, a president's order. Lydia, get our little schoolboy dressed. I'm taking him to the market district. Stephan wants to come with you too, but father shushes him sternly. This is your day. Your elder brother is hurt to hear this, but stays quiet. Resentment building up. An open carriage takes the two of you through the dusty, noisy city streets. A pleasant wind tussling your hair. Your city is called Anzot. That you already know. It is one of the largest cities in the entire empire. See there? I didn't know how to pronounce it. Anazot. I'll probably call it, but I just kind of went for it. There's a big shadow on the street. It comes from the white foliage of an enormous tree that spreads its branches all about the city. I have a nice picture. Carriage, horse-drawn carriage here. So, my son, did you know that the silver tree grows from the blood of our God's own disciples? It's been growing here for hundreds of years, right in our city. It cannot be damaged or burned. Not even the clergy know why. The carriage comes to a halt by a small shop next to a city square. You run there and freeze by the stalls in excitement. The shop is packed with dolls and figurines and toys. You've never seen so many at once before. Have you chosen your present yet? Father asked. Father asked, you want the Holy Order set, which includes several figurines of the Empire's greatest warriors. You rattle off everything you know about the Holy Order. They're the one who aided the Empire's own forces in sieging the province of Magra and storming our city. That's how we joined the Empire. Father nods in approval. Oh, so we're like a vassal state, kind of. Sounds like. So I imagine we might have a rebellion of our vassal state against the larger empire. Very well. War isn't your lot for now, but maybe these toy soldiers will teach you how to think like a general. We will lead them into battle and study military strategy. Go ahead, take your present. Having said this, Father turns away to examine the books. You run to the box of toy soldiers, delirious with excitement. But there is a fancy-dressed boy in your way. He is about to take your warriors for himself. He elbows you aside and reaches for the box. Anger overcomes you, and you push him from behind. Your opponent falls to the floor. The rich boy screams so loudly everyone in the shop hears it. He hit me! He hit me! A tall tower of a man looms over you. This is the boy's father. But then you feel your own father's hands on your shoulders. What happened? You press against father, your mind more at ease now. He will protect you. That should have been more paced. You press against your father, your mind more at ease now. He will protect you. Yes, you shoved the boy to the floor in front of everyone, but he tried to take your present for himself. Father turns you around to face him when he hears these words. Is it true, Parsons? Did you strike the son of a nobleman? It's like a plus. You quickly say that was an accident. Tell him the truth. Gives me determination, or admit my guilt. It lowers. I don't really want to lower my willpower to 0, and I don't necessarily need too much. Like, I know when I was a kid, I would have just told him the truth because I remember I was in a situation like this. And I told the truth. Now I think back at that, with it, they were trying to just get me to fit in with what was gonna make me. I will live up to my life choices because I'm trying to make this like kind of live my story. I'm not trying to play it in a. I'm going for a determination build, a perception build. I'm gonna make the choices. Tell him the truth. Probably gonna get me beat, but is it fair to blame you without letting you speak too? You didn't want to shove that stupid boy. He was the one who shoved you first. But the angry nobleman, the boy's father, will not let you finish. Nobody cares a whit for your so-called truth, little lowborn. The law is the law, and your punishment is due. Your father nods in agreement to these words, no matter how sad they may make him. They lead you They lead you and the nobleman's son out of the shop. You're told to bow to him and show humility. A bad feeling sends a shiver down your spine. With a satisfied grin on his face, the boy swings his arm and slaps you on the cheek. He strikes you again and again. I built up a little bit of resentment. Like when I was a kid, I like took all the anger and the blame and put it upon myself. But as I've been getting a little bit older, I realized that I was fair to feel the way I was feeling, and nobody asked me what I thought, how I was feeling. That hurt. That hurt so incredibly deeply. And, I didn't necessarily have this lot system also working against me, but, it did have, something similar to this happened nonetheless. He strikes you again and again. Enough! He got what he deserved. We're leaving. Get out of our way. Your head is swimming from the heavy blows. You return to your senses back in your bed, with servants treating your face. Father stands by your side all day. The morning after, you find a little box in your bed with the tin soldiers of the Holy Empires inside. You paid dearly for your stubbornness. A. I still got what I wanted. I'm now 2 to 3 active. If I get another point, I'll be resolute. And there's probably only choices you can make if you're resolute. So I might want to just get myself up to 4, but it could cause it getting my perception up. So I'll just have to depend on the situation. Year 1124, summer, the family dinner. Today, father ordered the dinner table to be brought onto the yard. Into the yard. I said unto before and into, and I mixed those up. For the first time in months, he's home, outside the confines of his always locked study. He spent the entire day playing with Nathan and you, discussing various matters with Stephan, now an adolescent, and walking in the garden. And now, a dinner under the open sky. Your entire family gathers together, with father at the head. And, I think a thing to keep in mind with all this. It's like it's obviously a lot easier for me to make these decisions when I'm not the one getting beat, and suffering the direct consequences. That that would definitely play a greater factor if it was in real life. But excuse me, I'm gonna play this like because I don't have to suffer those direct consequences. How I would ideally want to live life and play it. Your father gathers together, with father at the head of the table, smiling. He asks each of you about your studies. Nathan climbs up at the tree and recites a counting rhyme in a funny singy-song voice. Stephan mentions that his fencing teacher praised his accomplishments. He rises from the table together with father to show his skills in a practice duel. Next comes Gloria's turn. She stands on her chair and recites a lengthy prayer by heart. Oh, obviously noble priest. That makes sense. Dichotomy. Mother showers your sisters with prayer. Father chuckles quietly, hiding a smile in his mustache. When your turn comes, you recite all the ranks in the Legion, from common soldier to high commander. Stephan listens to you with a skeptical look on his face. I wonder if this changes if I don't get the tin soldiers, or if this is just always going to be the same. Curious. Night slowly falls, but the servants ensure that the yard is well illuminated. You don't feel cold in the dusk of night. It feels good, yet so important. All of you are finally together, sitting at the same table. No fighting, just smiles. No arguing, just pleasant small talk. But there's underlying resentment, obviously, festering. That's going to come out here. People want to maintain a facade. I know that all too well. Then a servant approaches father with a letter in his hand. He reads it in the dim light, and each line gradually watches the smile off father's face until only a stone cold mask remains. The mother looks at father with an unspoken question in her eyes. Gregor Brante is coming back to Anazote. He's the head of our family. My father. Anazote. Like antidote. Grandfather's return. Year 1124. Your grandfather Gregor Brante returned to the family home from the capital. The intrusion. Whoops. I should wait till that stops. That'd be a better idea. The intrusion. Ever since the news of grandfather's impending arrival, there's not been a single day when the house has not been cleaned or decorated. Your parents anxiously make sure everything is in order, then tell you to wash your face and hands after walks and scold you for leaving books on the floor. You tell Gloria she'll be flogged if she's ever seen hiding in the attic. They make Stephan stay in his room. Even baby Nathan gets in trouble. Everything, everyone, and everything is on edge. I like everything is on edge there, personally. Then one day, grandfather arrives. It is a grim day, so hot your neck is sticky with sweat. Mother, father, Stephan, Gloria, you, and Nathan. The entire Brante family stands on the porch in front of the house. The house servants lined up behind you. The carriage arrives, and out steps a tall, gaunt old man with a heavy walking stick and a heavier gaze. You cringe instinctively. Good health to you, father. Children, greet your grandfather as you have been taught. Still looking to sound like a real nobleman, are you? You can't fool me, Robert. I was the first of the Brante family to be ennobled by the mantle, and I'm the only one who remembers how to bear this burden properly. I, I, I live honorably by my lot. Your marriage to that low-born wench cut us off from ever being nobles of the sword. My progeny could have been born, bearing noble blood. Father, I beg you, this is not the place. grandfather eyes him with scorn and walks into the house, the entire family following close behind him. I have been away far too long. The entire house is a mess. This is an insult. How can you live in such a pigsty, Robert? The servants have gone far too lazy. All thanks to that commoner of a wife you have. I warned you, did I not? And yet you did as you saw fit. And the children? What do they know of tradition or honor? They are being raised in a virtuous family, father. And now you're speaking like a lowborn who's content to live in humility. Twin-willing, now that I'm here, this will not happen again. So I'm going to get a chance probably to appeal to my grandfather, appeal to my parents. I am taking